reasons for your failed trade. So this video will tell you the reasons why your trade can get failed. And you can also consider this video as part 2 of trade life cycle. So trade life cycle is part 1. And so, I would request you all to first of all watch trade life cycle and then come to this video. Only then you will be able to understand this better. And assuming that you have watched trade life cycle, if you have watched trade life cycle, I would also give you an update as well. See, from US perspective, there are few changes like about the time for settlement, like how many days it takes for your trade to get settled. In that video that I made it long back, I said it takes T plus 3 working days, but there is an update now. It takes T plus 2 working days in US. Okay. In fact, they are planning for T plus 1 as well, but that is just, is not yet executed. That is just a plan now, but the execution is like they have shifted to T plus 2. In fact, in India, it's following T plus 1 now, and they are planning for T plus 0 as well. But here we are not speaking about India. Let's stick to this US updates. So when I say T plus 3 is shifted to T plus 2, that doesn't mean there is any reduction in the number of steps. Steps will remain the same. Steps cannot be reduced, as it is extremely essential for the accuracy of the trade settlement. The only thing is, through automations and all, it will help. It will go little faster. The steps will happen little faster. Okay, that's the only difference. See, if I elaborate this, whatever steps I mentioned in T plus 3, that means settlement steps that I mentioned in T plus 3 will happen on T plus 2. Okay. And in that video, I said like clearing steps happens on T plus 2. Now that will happen on T plus 1. And affirmation happens on T plus 1. I said that will happen on T plus 0. And whatever I said like will happen on T plus 0 will stick to T plus 0. So this is the new update. Okay, so total T plus 0, total T plus 2 working days in US for your trade to get settled. Fine. And yeah, so let me also quickly summarize that trade as well. So if I summarize that trade, because when I will explain, it will become easier. Okay, so there is your buyer, there is your seller. Very shortly I'm summarizing in a minute's time. Okay, he will approach his broker, and he will also approach his broker. Then they both will punch in details into the stock exchange, and then brokers will approach their custodian. Okay, and custodians will do trade capture, trade enrichment, trade verification work, and then confirmation, affirmation, and then there is clearing house as well. Clearing house, with the help of the clearing member, will coordinate with the help of the clearing member, will do clearing work with the custodian. Correct? Yeah. So shortly, these are some of the steps, right? Now, why a trade can get failed? Okay, so that's what we are going to see now. So number one, imagine, um, let's say buyer doesn't have enough cash. Buyer does not have enough cash. Buyer does not have so buyer does not have enough cash. Is it possible in enough cash in his bank account? In his bank account, is it possible? Yes, it is possible, because let's say he did some punching error. He wanted to buy only 100 shares and he bought 1000 shares. That is also possible. Or maybe he keyed in deliberately 1000 shares, but he didn't check the balance in his bank account, and so there is a mismatch between what he ordered for and how much money is there in his bank account. And this happens at times with us also. Imagine you are going to a shop and you are ordering something, and later on you are checking your wallet and you don't have enough cash. So that is also possible. Okay, and then you are I mean, there is not enough cash. So such trade, will get failed. Such trade will get failed. Now, once it get failed, how it will be handled, that I will tell you at the end in this video itself. First, I'm just listing down all the reasons why a trade can get failed. Not all the reasons, many of the reasons I'm listing down. Okay. Then second one, uh, imagine client has decayed the trade. Okay, DK means don't know. So client said, I don't know what this trade is all about. So don't know. So don't know. DK. So decayed the trade. Client said, like, I don't know what this trade is all about. Now, how is that possible? Because when the confirmation is sent to the wrong counterparty, so wrong counterparty, um, uh, you know mismatching with the names or some account client ID, something went wrong and then it has reached to the incorrect client. So at that time also trade will get failed. Okay, then wrong confirmation means it has reached to the right client, but then he is not happy with the static data and trade data that I spoke about in trade life cycle. Static data or trade data, there is a mismatch, some data, like as I said, imagine he asked for Reliance Industries Limited and he got Reliance Communications, so obviously he is not going to accept. Okay, or he asked for 100 shares and he got 1000 shares, so obviously he is not going to accept. So wrong confirmation, so anything wrong in the details basically. Okay, static data and trade data. Okay, then next one, fourth point. So next one, imagine seller doesn't have enough, seller does not have enough securities. Seller does not have enough securities or shares. So seller said he is going to sell 1000 shares, but he has only 100 shares. So again same, like punching error is possible. So now it will be a failed trade. Okay, now there is another case where deliberately he will sell securities that he does not possess. That is called short selling. Now how he will handle short selling, that I have explained in another video, uh, with the name short selling, right? Over here it is not short selling. Here he sold by mistake more number of shares, he did not calculate it properly maybe, or he punched in by mistake more number of shares. Now this will be a failed trade. He is not able to handle this, it will be a failed trade. So this can be one reason why a trade can get failed. Okay, then incorrect settlement instructions. Incorrect settlement instructions, say for example, incorrect settlement instructions. Say for example, the bank account that the client has given, maybe he is no longer using it, and so when money is being pulled out of his bank account, they are not able to pull money. So settlement instruction is going wrong somewhere, right? So that is incorrect settlement instructions. Okay, then late confirmation or affirmation. So late confirmation happened too late, or it can even be affirmation as well. Imagine affirmation, affirmations time when the client is supposed to check and then affirm it back to the custodian. He is unavailable, he is not reachable, and the custodian tried to reach him over phone facts, but he is totally unreachable, maybe because he is busy with his other meeting also, and he is affirming it too late. So at that time also trade can get failed. So these are some of the reasons why a trade can get failed. Okay, now when a trade gets failed, how will this be handled? Okay, that's the next question. Okay, so now here, remember, buyer and seller, they don't even know each other. They are entering into the contract trusting the system. Now when I say system, that means they are actually trusting the clearing house, because clearing house takes the counterparty guarantee. So for the buyer, clearing house is the seller, and for the seller, clearing house is the buyer. So clearing house takes the counterparty guarantee. If clearing house is taking the counterparty guarantee, it has to have some tools to handle this failed trade. So let's see how this clearinghouse, handles such failed trade. So they have certain tools. They have certain tools by which they handle this. Like for example, there is a specific window, which opens in India from 3:40 p.m. to 3:50 p.m. and certain investors can participate in it. Now here, uh, clearinghouse, this is called auction in India, whereas in US, the terminology used is buy in and sell out. Buy in and sell out. Whereas in India, it is just simply called as auction. Now when this window, in this window, what happens is clearinghouse will participate, and then they will buy in if there is a problem with the buyer. Imagine buyer doesn't have enough cash, but seller is not going to accept all such reasons, right? And seller will lose the trust in the system itself, when you give him any excuses. So clearinghouse will buy in from the market, okay, at in this window, and then they will pass it on to the sellers. Similarly, if seller has any issues, buyer is not going to listen, right? So what the clearinghouse will do is they will sell it out. They will sell those shares in the market and then pass it on to the buyer. So they will give those shares to the buyer. Okay. Now when they are doing these transactions, the price will vary than the initial price that they booked for. Okay. Say for example, buyer booked initially to buy shares at 1,000, but right now it is 1,001. So that means clearinghouse is paying extra one over here. Okay, so this is a kind of loss for the clearinghouse. So what they will do is, all this money, all this amount will be charged from the broker. Okay, all this amount will be charged from the broker, and also they will penalize the broker as well. They will even penalize the broker, for the failed trade. So they will penalize the broker as well. Okay, so that's how clearinghouse will handle this deal, and then it is between the broker and the buyer seller. They will decide like whose mistake actually it was, whether the broker punched in incorrectly, or buyer and seller themselves gave incorrect information, and then they will decide within them, who will bear the actual loss. Okay, but as far as clearinghouse is concerned, broker is responsible and broker will have to pay. Fine. So this is how a failed trade is settled finally, and the counterparty will not even know that their deal went through any sort of problem. Okay, of course maximum deal happens all properly, only around maybe like I guess around 5% or so this kind of issues can happen. Fine, so these are all some of the reasons for your failed trade. Yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you.